It's time for the Gettin Outdoors podcast, Town Country United Bank Lake Millis Ferry Weekend Hunting and Fishing Report. A weekly update on water conditions, ramp events, generating schedule, what's biting, and seasonal hunting information with outdoor reporters Joe Allen Dunn, Kevin Sims, and Shane Jones. This weekly hunting and fishing report is brought to you by the good folks at Town Country United Bank in Camden, Alabama, serving their customers for over 40 years. Town Country United Bank's highest priority is satisfied customers. Now, here's your weekend Lake Millis Ferry hunting and fishing report.
Come summertime, we're feeling fine, fishing on the lake, flipping jigs and Carolina rigs, from early morning till real late. Bonfires on the creek bank, kick back a couple beers. Yeah, we command the outdoors around here. Yeah, we command the outdoors. Yeah, we command the outdoors. Next year's does until you know winter's on the way. Brushing blinds and deer stands. Fever starts to creep. Fill our freezers full of ducks, lots of tender deer. Yeah, we command the outdoors around here. Yeah, we command the outdoors. Yeah, we
another one on the B&B Silver Shade.
So grab your guns and shells, boys. Put on your camouflage. 'Cause we command the outdoors around here. We command the outdoors.
Team Bigfoot in the house.
James Jones Crappie.
Got it.
First one, 2023, smackdown.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Gettin Outdoors podcast 250 Town Country United Bank Hunting and Fishing Report. This begins the 6th season of Gettin Outdoors podcast and the Town Country United Bank Hunting and Fishing Report. I'm joined by my outdoor reporters Joe Allen Dunn, Kevin Sims, and Shane Jones, and our special guest this afternoon is Representative Chris Sales. He's going to talk to us not only about the new boating laws and the confusion that we have, but he might even, look at that, boys, tell us a little bit about some catfish. That's him at work in Montgomery on the right, and that's him at work out in the river on the weekend. So he knows a little something about catfishing. Tell us about that old big catfish, Chris.
Well, I'll tell you, Big Daddy didn't come easy. It took me 2 years. But, yeah, I caught him up on Lake Wheeler where all the big ones seem to be, and caught him in October, and I was proud to catch him.
Well, we got to fess up something before we get started, because I know Joe Allen's had everybody coming in the store. First time I've seen Kevin this year. I don't know, Kevin, did you even fish January 1st?
I did not. I watched football, stayed home.
And, boy, we are catching the devil about not going fishing. And the only person that really had an excuse was Travis, and he had the COVID, so he has got an excuse. But
well, technically, my truck's messed up. I couldn't pull my boat. I run over a deer and messed the tire up. I've been waiting on the tire to come in.
All right, well, that's a pretty good excuse. Joe Allen.
Well, technically, I won it. I won. I was the only one there and showed up. Nobody else was there. I had my boat back and ready to go in the water. So that means I reckon I won.
You won by default.
Yeah, but I won.
I will agree with that. I ain't got no problem with that. I still ain't.
That's not wokeism, Big Daddy. That's wokeism.
Yeah, the only one that won a hook this weekend was Shane, and he tore him up and down in Florida. Where were you, Shane?
Lake Seminole down in Sneads, Florida.
Okay.
Pretty,
right,
that's
well,
grass down there.
It's all dead floating. It's headed towards the dam right now, but there's some grass in that late in the summer, they say.
Yeah.
appreciate everybody tuning in. Old Rusty Godboll's tuned in. Bud, Jared Hudson, Rusty Pearson, Noonan Hall over in Natchez, Mississippi. But we got Chris on here tonight, and me and Chris have talked all week. As most of you know, the article came out on AL.com on December the 27th. It's an article written by Amy Yerkinen. She is she's not an outdoor reporter, and God, I miss our outdoor reporters like Mike Bolton and Jeff Duke and Mike Hadley and all the guys that used to be independent sports writers that kept up with the outdoors. Nobody does that anymore. We don't have any communication with the powers to be anymore for the grassroots hunters and fishermen. But this is what the article basically said. I'm not going to read the whole article, but a new law that takes effect January the 1st will switch many boating infractions in Alabama from misdemeanors and felonies to boating violations as part of an effort to create a system that resembles traffic enforcement. The maximum penalty for boating violations can include $200 in fines and up to 30 days in jail, according to the new bill. The law will change reckless boating from a misdemeanor to a boating violation, and the penalty for having children younger than 8 years old on a boat without a life jacket will also become a violation instead of a misdemeanor. It also changes the penalty for boating without a safety certification from a misdemeanor to a violation. Now, that is what got everybody confused, because nobody knew what a safety certification is. But what a safety certification is just your boating vessel license. That is your safety certification. Safety certifications are required for Alabama residents and visitors who stay more than 45 days. So we got Chris on here as not our representative, but he's in this Alabama State, sits on the Alabama State representative, and he is going to explain it to us where we can understand what that voting law or the new laws are, Chris. So I'm going to turn it over and let you kind of explain it to us.
Okay, it's real simple, Big Daddy. So if you look at it like a traffic violation. So if you get a speeding ticket, you have to pay your ticket, right, or go to court. So that's the way it used to be on the boating violations. It was the same way. Well, now they changed it to a violation to where it's going to be like a parking ticket. So, you just pay a parking ticket and it don't count on your record or anything. It's like a civil offense. So it'll be better on anybody that has a boating violation because it won't go on your record. It's a just pay the ticket and it's over with. Mm-hmm. So, but now, so that's if the Marine Police drives up and writes the ticket. But now if the Conservation Department comes up, and that only applies to the boat violations. So if the Conservation Game Warden pulls up, all that's still the same. That didn't change. So, but now if you get caught with that, your kill switch or life jackets and that kind of stuff, they write you a ticket, you pay the ticket, just like a parking ticket versus a speeding ticket. It's basically what it is. It does not go on your record.
And let's make this clear too. The ALEA, which is what the Alabama Law Enforcement Administration, I guess,
agency, right?
Agency, and the Conservation, Alabama Department of Conservation, Natural Resources, Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries Division. That's two different things. A game warden falls under the Department of Conservation, and the Water Patrol falls under ALEA, which is just like a state trooper. Am I right about that?
That's correct. When ALEA was formed back in about 14, they consolidated all the state. Everybody that carried a gun just about in the state went to ALEA, and they could not get conservation, but they got the Marine Police. And I have tried to pull it back out and put it back into conservation. I haven't been able to do that yet, but I'm gonna work on it. Let's keep working on it. But yeah, so you're right. So it's a boat pulls up, says state troop on the side of it. That's the Marine Police. They're gonna be writing you the violations.
Yeah.
If the boat pulls up and it says Department of Conservation, game warden, he's going to write you a ticket just like he did before if you're in violation of a conservation offense. But now, if he writes you a ticket got to do with the life jacket or something, it's going to be the same. If it's got to do with your boat or a life jacket, it's going to be a violation. If it's got to do with your fishing, the conservation side of it, it's going to be the same way it's always been.
Representative Chris, is that going to be the fines be uniform county to county to county, or it's still going to be court costs added onto them?
That part I don't know. That wasn't addressed in here. So it's probably going to be court costs added onto it. It's going to be like getting a parking ticket. The fines may be the same. It's just going to be that it's not going to be a misdemeanor goes on your record. It's just going to be a violation, and that will not go on your record. Pretty simple. It's just changing the terminology and the effect of the ticket.
Well, what it basically boils down to is they're raising the fines and just the lady that wrote the bill, and Representative Jenny Schaefer of Leesburg, she wrote the bill, and what she really is trying to do is to just highlight the boating safety, because it's been so many boating fatalities in the last 5-10 years that it just really does needs tweaking. It really does. I'm proud for it. The only thing that bothers me, Chris, is the communication and transparency, not only from Aaliyah Water Patrol, but the Conservation Department, with the grassroots stakeholders, the guys that own the river. It just seems to me that we need to find out about all this stuff, and without having to read it from some AL.com reporter that probably had never been in a boat. That's what bothers me about the whole thing.
Well, that's where we're blessed to have you, Big Daddy, because without you doing stuff like this, nobody would never understand.
Well,
and like I told you before, I'll help you anyway. You got any questions about anything, you just contact me, and if I don't have the answers, I'll find them out for you.
Well, that's the reason I started my radio show back in 2007, is because the Alabama, the governors, advisory board, and the legislators and all of them, anytime they change the rule regulation, the only way that the consumer, stakeholder, grassroots, hunting license, fishing license, public knew about it is when the digest came out and they read it in the digest. That's the only way they knew anything about it. And now we not only got podcasts, we got the Cast and Blast radio show out of Montgomery. Alan White and Doug Max do the radio show in Mobile. Wes Gardner and them do the radio show over in Livingston, Alabama. It's enough outdoor media out there now that every one of them should have known about this before that girl at AL.com even thought about writing an article about it, in my opinion.
Right. And I can check and make sure they post it. I don't know exactly the avenue they would have to get the information to the right people, but I can make sure they post it on their website and stuff like that, or, if we'll talk later, if we can figure out a way for them to distribute the information, I'll be glad to try to get that, make that happen. But I'm not
with
sure.
social media now, that's the way to do it. Social media is the way to do it. I mean,
well, Big Daddy, I bought my license online. I get at least 40 text messages a month from the group, Alabama Outdoors. That goes to everybody that bought a fishing license and a hunting license. This information could have been text to everybody in the state.
Well, and every division in the state of Alabama has a communication division. That's what they're for. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right. But now let me back up and say that Outdoor Alabama app is a conservation app, and this didn't come through conservation. This come through Aaliyah. But now the conservation could have said, hey, y'all, there's a change, and they could have done that, but they're not the one that done this. This come through Aaliyah.
Okay.
So, they drop the ball a lot,
they're aware
too.
of it because they go enforce the same laws too.
That's right, and they could have done it.
They drop the ball a lot too, though, because they increased the permit to hunt over bait. Didn't tell a soul. You just looked on there and it went up. You're just like, hey, it's not a big deal, but I mean, it's not. It's easy to put that information out.
Well, and I'll give you another example. A week before the alligator season, they put out a conservation. They did Outdoor Alabama put out a press release where they changed all the termination, everything on the alligator hunt, and I called two of the members of the Governor's Conservation Advisory Board, and they didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
What kind of communication is that?
Yeah. So I'll find out if they have like a social media person or whatever at conservation.
They do.
I'll work on that. I'll make that. Right. I promise you, I'll get that to working better.
Well, it just needs to be better communication and transparency.
I agree.
I think.
See, I didn't even know the bait price went up. I paid it, but didn't even realize it went up.
It did, and like I said, it's not a big deal, Mr. Sales. It's just, don't give any.
Who you talking to?
It doesn't give. It just leaves some doubt and everything, and
that's right.
And it's really not a big deal. You don't need to leave any doubt. Put it in layman's terms where I can understand it. You don't have to use big words. Hey, you're going to be paying a ticket instead of a misdemeanor, just like a traffic ticket. Make it easy like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah. So this thing, let me cover it again. So it actually, instead of tightening up the laws on the boaters, it actually loosens them up. So instead of paying something that goes on your record, it's loosening it up to where it's just a violation like a parking ticket. So
that's good, because you don't want your insurance going up and stuff like that.
That's right.
Yes,
for not having not enough life jackets and that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, sir. I understand.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think if anybody's got any questions now, they can contact any of us. And Chris, I'm sure you got a presence on Facebook.
I do.
Or they can go to the Alabama State Representatives. I'm sure
all they got to do is hit me up on Facebook. Be the easiest thing to do.
Okay.
Phone numbers on there and everything.
And I tell you what, that's good to know too, because you never know when you might have a question to ask. And you're in Montgomery, quite a bit, ain't you, Chris?
Yes, sir. Yes, as a matter of fact, our session starts in first Tuesday in February.
Is it anything coming up in any outdoor laws, rules, and regulations that you're aware of that coming up this session?
No, we got gambling's a big thing coming up this year.
Well, I hope it passes.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know. Me and Shane went down to Atmore on Christmas Day, and Shane came home $250, and I left $100 now.
Well, next time just pay him and y'all stay home.
Yeah, you're right. All right, y'all.
Oh man!
If you got any questions, y'all, we are live, and you can put them in the comments down there. Russell Hampson over in Sumter County said, "Good job, brother. Appreciate the heads up." So everybody appreciates you coming on, Chris, and explaining all that to us.
Well, they're very welcome. I always tell everybody I'm the fishing politician, so I'm right there with you guys.
Now you were talking. Have you started your radio show? Aren't you finna do an outdoor radio show too?
Yeah, I think it's going to start January the 22nd, and it's not going to be just outdoors. It's going to be entertaining, and it's going to be news and entertaining. So often, Big Daddy, I look at the news and I hear something and I say that's not right. Mm-hmm. So I want to be able to have a platform to bring somebody on there and discuss the facts of what really was, not what they said on the TV.
Well, that is.
Doug Sykes will make an excellent first person on there.
I've had him on a radio show before.
We need to get him on here.
Don't give him no softball questions. I can tell you that. He just got appointed to some big national job. I don't know what it is, but he's representing.
I think he's the president of the National Association. Is what I think.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's knowledgeable, and they have a lot of the chiefs. They have a lot of good people in conservation under Chuck. And
hey, I'm gonna throw this out there now, Representative Sales. Now, this is just from a commercial fisherman that I've known a long time. He wants to know when they're gonna open the spoonbill season back up on the Alabama River. They did that one time and had some controversy. I don't know exactly what happened, but it really does need those spoonbills. Are they out there, Shane?
I'll tell you what. Any representative, anybody that's over the laws of that can get in the boat with me. this spring, and I'll show them all they need to see.
Oh, I see them. I see them. You can find them in any deep hole in the
But,
curve,
you know,
just stacked up.
They need to meet with fishermen like yourself and say, hey, we're going to give you so many permits for so many fish. You know, tag them, whatever you need to do. You know, there's going to be some lawbreakers. I understand that. Regulate, yeah. Because I would love to go catch me one of them 100-pounders as long as my leg out there. Snag them, whatever you got to do to them. So.
Yeah, I've caught some weighed about 40 pounds by accident where they just swim by.
Me too. Yes, sir. And the tail. Hey, Miller's Ferry is slap full of them, though. Woo.
Yeah. You know, this year on the river, I didn't see any. You know, I go up to North Alabama and my fish finder's just full, and I come back to the Alabama River and I end up beating on it, thinking it's not working because there's nothing on it. But you know, spoonbills over my house. I got a house on Tawassee Creek in Lounsboro, and I usually can just watch them just jump out of the water all the time. I've even had a small one jump in the boat with me one time. But this year I didn't see them like I usually do. And the catfish this year in the river just wasn't like they're supposed to be. I don't know what. I told somebody that El Nino, I'm going to call it El Nuno, but I don't know where the catfish were at. But I couldn't find them this year.
It's been an odd year.
It has.
I tell you what, this spring I would turn my trolling motor on high and up in the gold mine and go down there and make just a small wake. And those little old baby spoonbill were getting those wakes like porpoises. And follow me in the boat. That was pretty cool.
Well, y'all talk about crappie on here too, right?
Yeah.
So I've got one question. This cold weather, when I drop my minnow down there, the crappie are deep. I drop it down there and they come running up to it and they just look at it. What do I do?
There you go, Shane.
Nothing. Go to the next crappie. To be honest with you,
I think you need to turn that live scope off. I'd rather not.
I'll give you the best tip I can give you. When they do that, take you a jig and throw it to them. If they address it, take it away from them. Here's how you gauge it. The closer that fish's mouth is to that jig, is how fast you reel. If you got a big gap, you slow down. If he starts to close it, you speed up. It's a cat and mouse game. Once that minnow comes out and he sees it, if it doesn't run, it's just like a cat and a mouse. He's not going to do anything. Right. You take that jig away from him, how far he is. If he's got a big gap, slow it down. If he gets his nose right on, you see his tail, speed it up a little bit. That's tricks you'll learn.
Yeah, there you go.
That's tricks you'll learn, and you'll start catching more fish. I done it all weekend long. I told Big D I seen 5,000 plus fish this weekend. Wow. We might have caught 100 and something, but I mean, there was so many fish that had a bad attitude, and you have to do all those tricks to try to make one bite.
I could catch them when it was easy, when the water was 70 degrees, but when it got down in the 50s, I can't catch them.
It's a cat and mouse game. It's something you'll learn.
All right, one more thing I want to mention while we got Chris on here, and that is I got a picture that was of a sign that was put up down below the Claiborne Dam. It was the fish consumption advisory. Chris, what do you know about that? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, there was a guy in North Alabama passed a bill last year that if there's a problem, it requires them to put up a sign, but that's all. I don't know what the sign says, and somebody told me that they recommend don't eat anything from there down, but I hadn't seen the report or whatever. But you'll see signs like that at a lot of boat ramps and stuff, and a lot of that's just something they just required to do if they, there's mercury in all the water around Alabama at some level or not. It's really just an advisory, some warning is what it is.
Well, that goes right back to what we were talking about a while ago as far as communication and transparency. That sign confused a lot of people down there. Mm-hmm. They didn't know. They've been eating fish all their life. And that sign just totally confused them. Now, it's got a website on there and a phone number you can call. But, for the first time you drive up to a place you've been going all your life and see a fish consumption advisory sign, right. that they should let people know about that before they just throw a sign out there in the rural areas like that. It really does aggravate me how they do stuff like that.
Well, about 50% of the laws we pass probably don't even need, that's just probably stuff like this that really don't even matter or whatever, it's we spend some time that could be better spent on something else,
All right, let's go to the Town Country United Bank Hunting and Fishing Report. We're gonna just keep Chris in here with us if you can stay with us, Chris.
Sure.
And the Millis Ferry Powerhouse tomorrow is running 48 megawatts. That's 2 units from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then 2 units from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. At Jones Bluff, from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., 1 unit, and from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m., 8 a.m., 3 units, and from 8 a.m. till 9 a.m., 2 units, and from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., 3 units. So they running it on and off. The water temperatures are 48 to 53, depends on early in the morning and late in the afternoon how much sun you get. So that is the water temperatures. Catfishing, hound dog is the only one I know that went this weekend, Kevin, that caught any catfishing. He had a pretty good day, I think, on New Year's Day. Do you know how he caught him?
I looked at it. I went by there and got some skipjacks, and he had his boat, had all his poles, had bottom fishing, dragging. He had planer boards, everything, had everything rigged up. So I don't know which he ended up catching the fish on.
And Big Bama Bryant, I don't know. He kind of like Joe Allen. I reckon he's just off the record. I don't reckon he even fishes anymore. I ain't seen him down here in a while.
Well,
I seen him in the log truck where he paying that daggone DOT fine they got him the other day to he was overweight when he come to the field.
Well, if you catfishing this weekend, Joe Allen, since you are the self-appointed winner of the jugging contest, what you gonna do if you're going catfishing this weekend? What's this clear water, low water, cool water doing to the catfish?
I'm gonna stay in the river because we looked everywhere with a live scope up in the sloughs and all, and couldn't find any bait. And actually, the only bait was out in the river anywhere from 30 to 40 foot down. And a key indicator that proved that to me was riding up and down the river, and you see a group of 15 and 20 cormorants in a spot, and you can see them going up and down, and you ride and run them off and look at it with your bottom machine or live scope, and there's where a big bunch of shad would be. But we was trying to throw to them with a small cast net, and it didn't work. We needed Kevin over there, that big net, and we was adding, I don't know, we were adding a whole lot of rope where we could get all the way to the bottom and couldn't get none. And I talked to Simon Zerlot about that. How would they be able? How could I get those shad when I needed them that time of year? He said I could get something like a white shrimp seine that they use, that they get shrimp when they up high in the column. That might work, but I don't have no way to get shad when they're that deep.
Well, and bait is a problem. It really is right now. All right, bass fishing. I hadn't heard anybody that did any bass fishing. Rick Sykes did send me a picture. I think he was down there around Coffeyville, and he had ice in his guides fishing the other morning. You ever done that, Kevin?
Oh yeah, I set the hook one day in the Marina Slough in February like that, and I'd been dipping my rod every 2 or 3 fish. And I set the hook back there when he had lily pads back in the day like that, and that daggone ice cut my line. It's about 6, 7 pounds. He kept jumping up on top of the lily pad, and I couldn't get over it. It was like 6 foot of line. I couldn't get to it.
All right, let's go to crappie fishing. Kenny Massengale caught 21 crappie that weighed 20.14. Mike Letkins has been tearing them up down in Baldwin County. Adam Acker sent me a bunch of pictures. Them Schroeder boys went on New Year's Day and had some fine crappie on Millis Ferry. Chris Blunt and his dad went to the Tom Bigby this weekend. They had some good fish. And Sunday is the Lake Sunday Crappie Series tournament. Shane, you know anybody that's going to fish it?
Oh, no, I don't. I'm sure Aaron and Kevin Hicks and Jessica, and I don't know if John and Jessica's fishing it or not. It should be getting right.
Yeah.
It should be getting right over there. Yeah.
All right. Since none of us went fishing, Kevin, Shane, you went to Florida. You coming back to Miller's Ferry and Demopolis this weekend. Tell us what you're going to be doing.
Well, guys, people don't realize Miller's Ferry, the water temperature is right now. Those fish are fixing to get in gear and start schooling. I was talking to Eric. Eric's on his trip out to Arkansas and out to Texas, and we were talking, and I was like, and talking to John, I was like, why do these blackfish school? And I didn't realize it. The females' hormones are going. The males are trying to get strong where they can guard the nest, and that's what they do. That's their ritual. They get out there in school and get stronger, getting that current. They eat bait. A lot of times it's hard to catch them, and sometimes you can light them up, but they're starting to move from top to top. Big Daddy, you've seen it. You and I went and wrecked them pretty good, and then went back, a couple days later, and they was gone because they done got out on that current and took off. So they're on the move right now like gypsies. They're trying to, and chasing those schools is something you got to learn. It's you have to be patient. But now through February, the end of February, you're going to catch some in some tops that's hanging out and resting, and then they're going to go right back out and take off again. But I would, anywhere from 12 to 20 foot deep, hopefully in the perfect scenario, if the water's not rough, they're pretty shallow and you can get up there and catch them.
Chris, did you get a chance to fish over the holidays any?
I did not. I've been sick. I hadn't been able to go.
Okay. Well, the crappie fishing, you're right, Shane. That day me and you went Christmas Eve, man, that was an unbelievable trip for me. And I tell everybody, when I go fishing with Shane, I take my truck to the landing. Cause he ain't gonna, he gonna be out there all day, and I ain't gonna stay out there all day.
Hey, he stayed with me that day though. Hey, I asked him about lunchtime. Joe Allen. I said, "Big Day, you ready to go?" He said, "Heck no, I ain't going. You see all them fish right there?" But hey, they were literally, guys. There was a big tree, and we caught. Big Daddy caught a couple, and I caught a couple, and that school they took off, made them a couple circles, and went right back in the tree. And I got to show him that on live scope. I said, "That's what." People don't realize when the fish disappear, they're going somewhere. They're getting out of that current. Go ahead, Big Daddy.
But I do want to apologize to all the landowners on the lake that have a lake house on Lake Miller's Ferry, because I know y'all heard Shane cussing all day that day. I never heard anybody cuss fish like Shane did on Christmas Eve.
I did. You should have been with me in Florida this weekend. You talking about some cussing. I mean, when you see 60 feet of fish 10 foot deep. But I learned something. When they're all bundled up close in a cloud, they won't bite. But if they get a little separation, if you get a little gaps in them, you can get those fish to bite. So I learn something every time I chasing them silly things. I know that.
Well, Joe Allen has got him a new boat. He's fixing to get it geared up. So we mighty proud to get him back in the clique, get him out of the kitchen and on the lake, Joe Allen.
That's right. Yeah, I'll be down there Sunday, and if anybody's out there want to come, if you see me in the middle of the river, you'll know exactly what I'm doing. I promise you. So,
Joe Allen, you finna get yours rigged up. Well, you can chase some schooling crappie, ain't you?
Yeah, my electronics is gonna be in real quick because I can't say this too loud. But, as much as I bought, they free shipping. They gonna ship it, within 3 days. So it's gonna be here pretty quick.
All right.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, just like I said, be patient, guys. Get out there. Look, main river, like Kevin and Joe Allen said. There's nothing in the creeks, man, right now. Nothing but carp and some spoonbills. They're on the main river. The water's been normal. There's no reason for them to be in the creek, so they're out there feeding. So get you some jigs, minnows, and go out there and chase them. Find them.
All right, let's go to small game. That's Jared Hudson with the coon hunting ministry. He's been doing a lot of coon hunting. Got a good YouTube channel if you want to go check out some coon hunting. Kevin, I don't know if you saw this or not, but Scott sent me a picture. Dixie and his grandboys, Ash, Jack Gaines, and Shane Shaw went squirrel hunting the other day, and Dixie got to finally get off the porch and go squirrel hunting with them grandboys. So I'm so glad that Dixie's got somebody to carry hunting. I don't know about Sarah and Lobo. I reckon they still sitting at the house. What, Joe Allen?
They was treed out there this evening. I couldn't get out there quick enough. And,
the pot was about to boil, Big Daddy.
Well, the squirrel hunting is wide open. Coon hunting is wide open. I'm saying Rick Pipkin's been shooting some quail. I love to watch them dogs work. Did you do any hunting, Chris? Did you do any squirrel hunting, or coon hunting, anything?
We went quail hunting the other day. We bought some quail and turned them out. First time ever done that with some dogs, and that was really a lot of fun.
That's a lot of fun. It sure is.
And I built me a good deer stand this fall, and I hadn't got in it much. I'm waiting on the rut, but it looks like they about ready to start over here where I'm at.
Well, we just got through talking with Eddie Salter and Mark Brunner about the rut, and that's what everybody's waiting on right now. Talking about deer hunting, the Wilcox Area Chamber of Commerce had their second of 3 big doe contests last weekend. The winner was Ken Chance with a 134-pound doe. Brianna Carney had the second biggest with a 128-pound doe, and Craig Gamble was third place with a 120-pound doe. The third big doe contest will be January the 27th and 28th of this month. That will be the third and final doe contest for the Wilcox Area Chamber Big Buck Contest. And it's been some big deer killed this year. I can't remember as many big bucks, young girls, young boys, and women that have killed big deer that I've seen this year. Big deer.
Oh, yeah. The first 3 weeks of the season, it was a slaughter. I'm talking about they were getting at it.
I like to see them, because, that bait brings them out of these thickets and stuff, and I'm glad for it. I like to see people enjoy it,
Yeah, I do too. That's what they can't kill enough because
they're everywhere, man.
There's plenty of deer. And I do want to tell everybody that the Roland Cooper State Park here in Camden is looking for a camp host. If you want to be a camp host at one of the nicest state parks in the state of Alabama, all the information is on my Facebook page, or you can go to the Alabama State Parks Facebook page or website if you are interested in being a camp host at Roland Cooper State Park. What you got on Crappie Cast tomorrow night?
We're gonna be giving out tips, just like we always do, and taking questions. We had a real good show last week. John and I, we put a lot of information out. I think we had more people view that show than in a long time. But we're gonna continue with that and continue to grow with it. And like I said, just answer some questions. And a lot of people's got a lot of gear and electronics questions, and we try to cover a lot of it.
Yeah, we did too last week. For our show, I think I had about 2,000 views because Travis was on here with me last week.
Right. Travis is just like yourself, Big Daddy. Y'all got a live scope and learn how to use it. And, we went out with each other, and I'm trying to pass some information down. Then it's your turn to go out there and learn all the little odds and ends on your own, And like I said, I'm still learning right now. I mean, I learn something every time I go out, and that's the truth.
Well, I tell people all the time, I've had electronics on my boat for 15 years, but until the last year, I didn't know how to use them. I really didn't.
That's the truth.
A lot of people are like that. They spend all that money, but they don't know how to use them. And I was that way. I didn't know how to use them.
It's just a little uncertainty. That's all, man. I sound like a smart butt when people ask me how to know they're crappie. Catch them. You put that fish in a boat, then you know what crappie look like. Yeah. And like I said, I'm not being smart, but if you'll notice the shape of those fish and pay attention, and everything's not a crappie because they're plentiful. Everybody thinks that, some big gizzard shad and brim and some stripe, they all behave different, especially on the live scope and the side scan. You can see the way they set up, like you're talking about big catfish and bass. Everything sets up different. Whatever you're hunting, hey, catch those fish and study what you're seeing, why they were there, what they were in, and try to make a mental note. If nothing, even jot it down, because that's just something you're gonna learn.
Christmas is over with. You got anything in the store you need to get rid of?
Oh yeah, we got still big sales going on everything from boots. We're throwing all winter stuff now on sale. The jackets, long sleeve, casual shirts, some of the heavy winter coats, he's knocking 30% off those now.
All right, Don Sports in Thomasville, Alabama. Y'all go check them out. Kevin, what you got going on this weekend?
Brody's leaving tomorrow. He goes to Huntsville. He's got the finals for the PRCA, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then he will leave the 6th and head to Missouri Valley and get moved in. And then he's got orientation the 8th. And then he'll be a Missouri Valley Raider.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep up with him. We're going to keep up with him. Chris, thank you so much for being with us today. Hey, this ain't your first time now. You know, you might have messed up because you done got exposed and your phone might ring off the hook up there in Montgomery. So thank you so much for being transparent.
Well, I might forward some of them to you. I got your number. I might just forward some of them to you.
And when you get that radio show started over there in Greenville, let us know where we can tune into it. And yes. I think that's a good idea. And you're going to kind of add a little politics to it too. And I think it is a place for that.
Well, in this time of year, you know, especially this new congressional district, there's 21 people running for that congressional district. Mm-hmm. And you know, people ought to know who they're voting for. Really, voting is a popularity contest, right?
Right.
So right. I want to be able to give people some information on some candidates. Let candidates come in and people get to know them a little bit better than just seeing a sign on the side of the road.
Absolutely.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Well, we appreciate you doing that. We appreciate you making yourself available and answering the questions and being transparent. It's not many in politics that do that. And I sure thank you for doing it.
Well, yes, sir. I'm kind of unusual, but I appreciate that. And I put myself in there. Nobody put me in there. I spent my money right out of my pocket. But I want to say to Shane that about that live scoping them crappie, I'll be sitting there trying to catch a crappie. You're talking about different species. And then all of a sudden, here comes a monster swimming through there. And I'm like, man, I should have brought my catfish rod.
I tell people this. I've seen more big catfish this year than I ever have. And I stay away from them. But, I mean, that's what they're like. Everybody shies away. Everybody wants to go when they can troll and throw jugs out. Nobody wants to go out there and learn how to catch catfish. They want to catch them when they're biting, when everybody else is catching. That's the difference. You got to want to go out there and learn something about it, you know, and get out there. And because if you catch them right now, you'll be by yourself. You know,
right. Yeah. Well, what I'm looking for, I'm waiting on some current and some live bait right now, but I can't find any current. You know, without any rain, it's hard to catch.
I understand.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's one of the things I've always said about the fishing for the weekend average angler is, you know, he gets out there and he wants to catch fish today. He don't want to go look for new ones, and he gets hung up on fishing spots instead of fishing conditions.
Yeah, amen. That's exactly right.
That's hard. You know, you're going to get to go Saturday, and you might not be 2 weeks before you get to go again. You don't want to go try no new spot. You want to go to that spot where you caught fish at last time.
Hey, Big Daddy, how many new spots did we find together? Well, me and you went.
Every time I go around, and that goes right back to what I said a while ago, learning your electronics.
Yes.
That's the reason.
Me and Big Daddy Mark probably 10 spots, and I caught a big fish in one of them. And he said, man, I've seen some people fishing here, and then you just, like I said, even if the fish aren't biting, hey, man, get out there and find you some stuff.
We pulled up in a new spot. Shane put that live scope down, pop, 2.27. 2.2.
Yep, sure did. Sure did.
Well, that 56, that GT 56 transducer from Garmin, that's the dang real deal right there.
Oh, yeah, it'll show them too. It will show them. And like I said, get out there and hey, learn it. And, you know, and that's what all that stuff's put for. You have advantage, you know, so get out there and learn it.
All right, guys, another good show. Thank y'all. As always, y'all bring it every week. Thanks once again, Chris, for tuning in with us. Stay on here because we're going to close out the show. And thank y'all for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week, same time, same channel on the Gettin Outdoors Town Country United Bank Hunting and Fishing Report.
Pap taught me every critter's track and how to set a hair trigger on a trap. He taught me to shoot, scale, and skin and make a snare with a leather strap. He taught me to be a part of the woods and all his woodsy tricks. Said you gotta walk soft on 2 light feet and try not to break no stick. I thank Daddy for my savvy, how to hunt and how to carry anything that I might need to get a piece of skillet meat.